Okay, alrighty. So I finally got it here. I'm not sure what's going on with our live stream feed here. We just heard a few copters overhead, but anyway, we finally got it. We here. All right, so we'll use the phone today. Excuse me, sweetie. Thank you, mommy. Pooh. Thank you. Alrighty. So, welcome, 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 everybody. Thank you for being here today. We are so glad that you could join us. Thank you for taking time out of your day, whenever it is, wherever you are. Thank you for taking the time and space to be here with us today. So, what I would normally do, actually, we're going to go ahead and start off with a little tune that everybody knows well here. So, we're going to start off with a little music just to kind of set us up. You know what I mean? Um, for a nice vibe this evening. Had a few technical difficulties getting on here, but now that we're here, let's enjoy. You know what I mean? Let's enjoy. Okay. And
We on?
we are on, and you came back with food. This guy
That's not
here.
food.
Sauce.
Hello, hello, hello. We live.
Anyway, we're here, guys. So back to the music. Let's get that popping. All right. Playing? Yes. Good. All right. BRB, guys. This is a cut for just me and you. This is a cut for just me and you. This is a cut for just me and you. Something cool.
Something true.
Something
T-R-U. In the middle of the floor, I'm writing this song. Everything that's in my mind is you. My life and my wife, I just wanna be with you.
Not
I
just
don't know what I
music.
would do without you.
Yes.
Girl, I'm so glad I know you. Living life with you is so real.
I feel good.
And girl, you so chill. You boost up my confidence every time. I wanna spend the rest of my life with you, and that's no lie. Baby, a minute with you is a lifetime. I am a proud man, girl,
Cause you is mine.
this verse is for you.
And I promise I'll be true.
You understand me like you know me from my past life.
Yes.
It's good and people
Perfect to share this life with you once more. Excuse me. This is yeah,
for just me and you.
for just me and
This
you.
is a cut for just me and you.
For just me and
This
you.
is a cut for just me and you. Something cool.
something true.
Something T-R-U.
For me and you is the right time. Cause with you I wanna spend me a lifetime. Through eternity I always be your God. You always be the sparkle there in my third eye. And it's air to my lungs, fire to my ribs, water to my flows, earth to my kids. I always be your rock steady, solid in the rain. Let night come between our souls, face to the end. I tell you everything, girl, you my best friend. Journey on this earth, we're always gonna win. With you besides me, I feel bigger than a man. God like I am that I am. We are God like.
This is a cut for just me and you. This is a cut for just me and you. This is a cut for just me and you. Something cool. Something T-R-U.
This is a cup for just me and you. This is a cup for just me and you. Something cool, something to on you.
All right. And we are back. Okay. So, tonight we have a very interesting roster. We have a lot of good conversation, a lot of interesting topics to discuss. So, I know there's been a lot going on in the media lately. If you've been paying attention, or if you've been reading anything, or if you've been watching anything, there are a lot of things going on right now about space. Everybody's been talking about how to get to space. There's so many different ways to get to space. They came up with this slingshot thing, like, this new space craft that can go in the slingshot and kind of like fling you out of the Earth's atmosphere to get into space. And of course, Elon Musk, he's had all kinds of things to try to get to space. He's created different rockets and things of that nature. So the space race is here, right? Or has already been here. But what are we to do is the question. What are we supposed to do? What is your part in all of this? Because I've always been fascinated by the space age. I don't know if some of you remember the Jetsons back in the day. But I've always been fascinated by space and the space age, and just astronomy and the cosmos in general. So, like I mentioned before, we own a few telescopes just to kind of look out and peer at our friendly celestial beings around, just to see how they're doing, what they're doing, and communicate. You reach out, say hello. So, which also brings us to another point, Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice has been out here amplifying and expanding, huh? Go ahead, Beetlejuice. So, I don't know, again, if a lot of you remember, there used to be a movie back in the day, like 1994. I think it was 94, around 94, 96, something like that. But there used to be this movie, Beetlejuice. And so if you remember, he used to wear almost like a referee, these black and white stripes, similar to, like, what color does that remind us of? Or if we had to think of a planet that it closely related to, we would say probably Saturn. So structure and rules and laws and discipline, things of that nature. So a lot of different things are going on right now. A lot of different things are being exercised, and a lot of our planets, our planetary family, is responding. So we're getting a lot of different energy, or rather, we're responding to it, whichever way you want to look at that. But there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot going on out there. So just to kind of take a step back and take a further look or dive into some of the things that may or may not be beneficial to us. But then again, everything is beneficial to us because life works in the ever creation of spiral. And of course, we choose to spiral in the best positive way, the best, most fulfilling way, the way of love, of course. The closer we get there, we can spiral for infinite timelines and realities to as close to love as possible, or being love. So it's just interesting. A lot of this stuff is in the media right now. And then we have this most recent tragedy or travesty, I'll say, with the Ocean submersible. So condolences to those families that may have lost people. Indeed, if that is the case there, we definitely want to send our love, our healing, and our emotional support in whichever way that may be to those families that may be grieving at this time. However, there is a flip side to that. So we do know that with being, okay, so we're talking about space, and there are few different ways to get to space. Okay, so I don't know how versed or how exposed you are to some of these different ways. Some people, this may be new to you, or some people that listen to us, y'all already know. You know, there's plenty and tons of, we know the Bermuda Triangle is one way. We know that there are triangles in other parts of the world, similarly to the one here in the Americas, over in China and some other parts. So this idea of vortex energy created from the triangle per se, or an intersection of the ley lines and meridians of Earth's chakras, body points, acupuncture meridians. There are some powerful things that can come into being. Things that maybe we didn't think about before, or things that maybe we only thought about as science fiction, but become science fact when we kind of look at them and we observe them and we see the different phenomena that has been documented around them, in them, near them, and just different things that we know and understand about physics in general. So one thing I do want to look at is, of course, we want to talk about the firmament. I'm not sure where my husband is. I don't know what he's doing, but I guess I'm having a live by myself today, y'all. Let me go ahead and get comfortable. So anywho, if we want to go ahead and talk about the firmament and Earth per se. And again, whether it's round, flat, square, triangle, hey, I've never seen it to know, to be quite honest. However, I am of the opinion that it is circular. Whether that's, you say, flat two-dimensional circle or 3D sphere, up to you to decide. I'll let you handle that. But for me, you know, I'm going to go with the sphere for now because I like that. So anywho, what I will say is getting outside of this firmament, though, is one thing. All right. So moving, we'll say, into space-time outside the firmament, we know that per the Bible, it's been recorded that there is a moving, right, on the waters of the firmament, right? So where are these waters coming from? Because when we look up, I don't see water per se in the aspect that normal people would, or that we would normally look at it in, like an ocean or in your sink coming out of the faucet. So when we look up, we don't see water in a liquid form that we might normally associate water with. But there is a celestial movement of water, or some kind of medium, we'll say. I'm not sure, you know, if whatever medium it is, of course, I'm sure it's H2O in some degree, but it may have other elements in there, other super beneficial elements that are not mentioned. But for that to say, just to kind of give a leadway into the fact that these spaceships, right? So they don't just go through the actual firmament. There are different things and dynamics. There are angles that they have to actually go through to penetrate this bubble per se that we're in. So it's interesting that there has been so much at this time. You know, there's always been this slow creeping, let's get to space kind of face idea. But now it's like, oh, we have the resources, we have the tools, let's get there. Like, you know what I mean? So just kind of like a snap. We're here, let's do this, let's do that. But I do remember some time ago looking at, and this had to be when I was like, I'll say this was at least 15 years ago. And so I remember reading this article in a magazine about the creator and originator of the Cirque du Soleil. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. If you're not, Cirque du Soleil is a circus. They do, it's not a traditional circus, though. It's a very acrobatic, engaging, interactive kind of circus. So anywho, look it up if you've never heard about it. Very fun. I like them. I enjoy them. Haven't been in a while, but I've been to a few Cirque du Soleils. So, but anywho, I remember reading that the owner, or the creator of the Cirque du Soleil, or owner of the Cirque du Soleil at that time, he was deemed a private explorer by NASA. So I don't know if you know what a private explorer is, because I didn't at that time. I had to look it up and find out. But a private explorer is someone who has their own means to make it to whatever destination they want to, I guess, whether that's space or whether that's deep oceanic. experiences, whatever it may be. So private explorers, pretty much people with money that have the means and resources to explore these things. All right. So with that being said, him going into space and him, oh, I'm sorry, guys. Alrighty, I thought somebody was chiming in there. But anyway, I can't really see it. But anyway, with him going into space and this being all kind of other things going on, what he mentioned was he took some pictures, this private explorer from Cirque du Soleil, while he was up there. And the pictures that he took were breathtaking. They were absolutely beautiful, to be quite honest. And so prior to that, I did not have the relationship that hold on one second, guys. Let me close the door. Prior to that, I guess I never really kind of thought about it, but I never been exposed to a person per se, just a private explorer. There were only agencies like NASA and, some other agencies across the world and other places, space agencies, that seemed official and governmental and things like that. So it was just interesting because I'm like, oh, wow, people can just willy-nilly by themselves, go ahead and go into space. Like, I didn't know that. That just seemed very interesting to me. And it opened up some ideas because what it made me think of was, wow, this is interesting. I wonder how many people know. You know what I mean? Like that you can actually self-fund these things if you have the proper funding for it. So it's not as daunting as some may think. Of course, it's very serious. You definitely need to be safe and protected. But otherwise, this is stuff that normal people, I'll say, can do and participate in. So that was one awakening for me. Now, the second awakening, I'll say, was, well, no, let me just stop there. I'll go ahead and I'm going to let my husband go ahead and get in the frame for now, since he's been taking a chill pill over there. And as a matter of fact, I'll be right back.
What you was talking about?
We're talking about space.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was handling some issues and stuff. Um, yeah, like she was saying, I don't know where she stopped at. Yeah, I see the life is about space and you know the ocean gate UFOs and stuff. I'm not sure exactly where.
So space, the Bermuda Triangle,
That's what she was talking about.
the connection between water, underneath oceanic exploration, space exploration, and different ties to those. I'll be right back.
Yes. Okay, she was talking about space and the connection between the Bermuda Triangle and water. I mean, we know the connections also between water and space because, like, to get rain come from space and stuff. So even the gravity, what I mean, that came from the earth. That the gravity that the earth made and stuff, like especially like right now, like when it's hot and stuff, all the energies that came from the earth, they go up, and then when they get to the air, that's when the air transform those energy back to us as water. So that's mean like nothing really went go to waste and stuff. What I mean? Everything is one, everything, become one, what I mean? So what I can say about, what's going on for as, the Bermuda Triangle, like she was saying and stuff. That could be my own theory and stuff. That could be just me thinking like this or just me saying these things, But I feel like there's still like a generation, like I mean civilization, living in the Bermuda Triangle still now. To be honest, because I believe that this part of the Americas probably was part of the capital of Atlantis and stuff. You know, we know about the Atlantis. When we're talking about Toph and I mean the Kemetic, mysteries, teachers and stuff like that. And when they're talking about Atlantis have like many capitals and stuff like that. So in the Bermuda Triangle, and I still think there's people that still live there. To some they could be aliens. UFOs. That's lived down there. For centuries, these people been living there, and I think that's why like you can see like a lot of time stuff objects is been disappearing once they hit the triangle. you know I mean, like they say, everything is not like a mystery or something like that. You know what I mean? Because if you learn, if you study, you will find the information. You know what I mean? If you dig, if you will find the information that you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it is. So yeah, I mean, we all are UFOs, man. Aliens. You might have aliens in your family. You know what I mean? Because I remember before I become a permanent resident in the US, when I came, I was considered to be an alien. I still have my alien card, so do I look like, a white, skinny, no hair, no, whole human being, so I think when we talk about aliens, also, we can also talk about people from different areas or different land of habitation. You know what I'm saying? So definitely. Um, yeah. Other than that, it's just that though. Something else I was gonna say about the UFOs and stuff. The connection, the UFOs, the Bermuda Triangle, and all that. Here, like I mean, that's like a place like the Bermuda Triangle is like a triangle that I really want to like visit. You know what I'm saying? Go in and just dig in and do some studies there. To be honest, but I know how much you know or what that could cost and stuff like that. Because I feel like we don't know much about what's beneath the water. Like it's one thing I feel like we as people we don't know what's there, what's under there. You know what I mean? We go to space. I mean, people go underwater too, but nobody ever say if there was life underwater beside the fish. So that's mean you mean like nobody can live underwater. I mean, we just saw that in Black Panther. You know what I mean? The Tulukans. You know what I mean? They live underwater. You know what I mean? The ancient mines and stuff. The Tulukans. So I mean, I think it's possible. I think they wouldn't put it in no movie if it weren't possible. You know what I mean? That's why I feel like what I mean. They still people live. You know, below the ocean, and I think that's why there be a lot of crash in the ocean and stuff like that. You know what I mean? A lot of boats done disappear and everything. So I feel like if there wasn't no energy field under the ocean, sometimes what I mean, who probably was sucking this stuff, and that's why like we'll be having all these disasters in the ocean. You know what I mean? People will do like will mess with everything else. You know what I mean? Do everything. But like especially me though. I love the ocean, but don't love the ocean that much. You know. But everything is like that. So space is something that we explore, and then the ocean not much. People know what's the ocean hold. I feel like it's because there is a secret, under the ocean that they don't want us to get in, you know, to understand and to explore, I would say.
So, pretty much, I'm not sure what you were just talking
I
about,
was talking
but
about the ocean and stuff like that. UFOs living under the ocean, people,
okay, perfect. So
generations,
that's what I was trying to wait till you got
civilization.
here to lead into, because I know that there have been some reports. So let me step back just a moment and go back to the private explorer. So again, he took some pictures. They were beautiful pictures, but it got me to thinking, wow, this is interesting because prior to this, it only seemed that government agencies had access to these outer realms of, the mind that no people ever explores.
Hmm.
Excuse me. So what I found out was he wasn't the only one. There were other scientists and other people in that time that had actually gone in. Well, actually before him, prior to him, actually when I started doing some research, I found out that there were other people that actually went out and had done some independent research and exploration. There was a scientist and his daughter. They had built a spacecraft, and they actually were successful in going to the outer realms and actually penetrating our atmosphere. However, and had a device that they were able to communicate with, and there was an incident though. Once his daughter, he actually so. Long story short, the scientist, he created this craft. He and his daughter. His daughter was also into science. She was a scientist as well. However, once they created this craft, I think she took the first or second or whatnot. She took this trip into space to test the craft. And so when she went up there was some interference, and she sent a message back pretty much saying that she was being taken.
Yeah.
And then communications were all cut, and he never saw her again. So, don't know what that was. I don't know if who that may have been or what that may have been. Sure. Do aliens exist? I believe they do.
You're looking at one right now, but you're talking to alien. Looking at one right now, but you're talking to
well, that's what they say. But yeah, they say people are aliens from different places.
I
If you're
mean,
not originally from America, they call you an alien.
yes, you're
But
alien by default.
so if you're not from this solar system or from this planet, you could be considered an alien. But to think that we may be the only people here, or we may be the only people that are in existence, I think is an immature thought. Which hey, it is what it is. Maybe that you just haven't been exposed to everything and everyone and people and things that possibilities. But there are infinite possibilities. But there, the main, I guess, my main piece is these things are happening, guys. Things are happening out here, and um there are beings, I'll say, there are bodies or entities or spiritual. Everything is spiritual. So the base of everything is always going to be, again, as above so below. So there's always going to be this spirituality in this matter sense. So you have the matter, and then you have mind. So, and they are intrinsically connected. So one without the other is highly improbable. There may be places or spaces that we can go, like they say death may be one, but some people believe that right after death you pop into another existence. You begin, that spirit begins to form and fully occupy another vessel or body or being per se. So that's up to you, whatever you like to believe. If you believe you go into some space or another body or, heaven or whatever you may call it, it's there, the afterwards of reincarnating or reliving or bringing back to like resurrection even is what it seems, but per se not in this body. Maybe a spiritual resurrection where you realize, oh, you're never dead anyway. It's just energy is never destroyed. It can only be transferred. So yes, I do believe that there are aliens. I do believe there are UFOs. I do believe that there are different things visiting our Earth. I do believe that there are different civilizations and different life forms and that may be way more advanced than we are here currently. That may have way more technological advances and may be in different understandings and spiritual spaces, even conscious spaces, let's say. So it's just to kind of minimize and feel like, I know we've all, or some of us have been taught that we are the only ones, we are the smartest, there's nothing else out there, you know what I mean? It's just Earth, and we're so lucky to have this Earth, and just duplicate Earth with an infinite amount of people and places and things and ideas. And it's just interesting that if we could have these little ideas and thoughts and in our little microcosm of things that we're doing right now, to know that to know that there are other things out there. So to right. Know that the possibility of other things out there, to know that we don't want to limit ourselves, you know what I mean, to thinking and I think, whenever the time was that people thought that maybe we were the only ones out here, maybe that was for them. But when you discover more, when you learn more, the more you know, the more you grow. So when you learn more, you have to actually take that information and apply it. You can't just learn it and do nothing with it. You have to actually apply that information for to be successful, at least in executing that info. But what we're finding here is that there's a great connection between space and the ocean. So some people have discussed, I know I started going into the Bermuda Triangle about the portals, but I wanted to kind of, finish talking about space and space times. And so these UFOs, when people say aliens, again, it's a good thing you just said, like you're considered an alien. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And I think when we think of alien, because we see, we've been given this image, I'm looking, I don't have any traditional alien symbology here, sorry. But we think of the ETs with the big heads and the round eyes, and we think of things like that. Right, grays. We think of reptilians, or we think of all of these other names that we have for alien life, okay, or other existential beings, right? So it's even with that in mind, even with knowing, okay, we have these beings or this, that, and the other, or even doubting. Some people doubt or don't understand. These people that they found, let's say even the Martians, right? Let's go for the Martians. Marvin the Martian. I don't know if y'all remember him from Looney Tunes, but there are ideas and aspects that, again, some people in some places, even from here on Earth, are from other places. And I don't know if you have a spiritual connection to that, or if you have a physical connection to that, or what it may be for you, or what you believe or what you don't. But I mean, if you just think back far enough, or you think and you try to at least observe, I would say just observe. You don't have to adopt the idea, if you're not comfortable with that, for sure. Stay safe. But observe the thought that, what if just possibly there are people, maybe even that look like you and I, that are from other planets, other places, that we don't exist just here, locally, that we exist um, galactically per se. We exist in a place and space everywhere at all times, and in physicality, um, like people that actually look like us, like, or even, I mean, have fingers, 10 fingers, 2 eyes, you know what I mean, one nose. They have hair follicles, whether it be white, black, blue, green, whatever. Just, you know what I mean, they're people. So it's interesting to think that we got such common ancestors of, things or beings that may have traveled millennia or space-time to get here, or anywhere, excuse me guys, or anywhere in the cosmos per se. But it's just interesting to know that's a good possibility. And or even just to wonder, like, wow, if that is true, or if that could have been true. Or wow, there's a lot of evidence that supports that. A lot of geographical evidence. There's a lot of hereditary or genealogical evidence that supports that, for some people, not for everybody. But it's just interesting. We are all a part of the same thread. We are all a part of the same place. And from far to near, whether how far that may be the outer realms of the cosmos, to locally, there are commonalities. Isn't that weird? That's so crazy. So crazy. I love it. I love it. So, just thinking practically and kind of understanding the essence of life, and not being so close-minded to other things or ideas of what an alien may be. I know locally, again, they use it for people that are not from the country. And again, that word originated from somewhere. So people that are not from this planet, or people that are not from this solar system, or people that are not from this galaxy, whatever it may be. It's just, there is still a commonality. Now, do those grays exist with the big heads and the big eyes? And sure. I mean, I feel like, in the Bible, it even tells you there were so many beasts with 10 heads, and then there was this creature and that creature. So, I mean, there are obviously other beings and other life forms that may not look like us, and, we may not be familiar with, but they're there. And they may exist even in this potential space that we're here right now, but they may be in a frequency that we can't see. They may be in a form that we are not familiar with, and we just from knowing, it's almost interesting that if you don't know the name of something, you almost don't see it. You can ride by something every day, like on your way to work, and there's this like little thing that I see every day. As a matter of fact, on my way to work, I don't even know what it's called, which is why I hardly ever see it. But I passed by it one day, and I'm like, what is that thing? I'm like, has that always been there? And as I noticed, I start to think back. I'm like, it's always been there, but I've never seen that before. You know what I mean? And it's because I don't know what the name of it is. So that's just my personal experience. But even with psychology, linguistics, and reality, we find that you good, baby. We find that when you don't know the name of something, or you can't identify something, you kind of don't see it. It's almost like your eyes just it disappears or vanishes from your mental space, so your mind doesn't make the connection, or even if your eyes see it physically, but it doesn't identify it, so it's almost like it doesn't see it. It's the weirdest thing. It's crazy how psychology works, or it's just our minds are such incredible tools. But going back to the firmament, I was talking about the firmament earlier too, how those are supposed to be the celestial waters above the earth. So we have water above the earth, and then we have water below the earth, or around the earth, or inside of the earth.
Yes.
Agartha. So, or Shangri-La. We have a few different names for the inner earth, but now people are beginning to realize that these aquifers that we kind of pull our water from, and are these underground springs and all of these underground lakes and rivers and oceans, Earth has its own system. It has its own stability system. It has its own life structure. It has its own ecosystem. It has all of these things. And some are even challenging this molten magnetic. Well, we know it's a magnetic core, regardless of whether it's molten or not. Molten would be an interesting concept, because that would magnetize it, being that it would be so hot, right? One extreme to the other polarity, you would see that would make it magnetized. But there are plenty of other things that are magnetized that don't necessarily have to be molten. Now, is there molten? Sure, of course, where the volcanoes get from new land, where we create different um, landscapes. They create different landscapes. They create different countries and well, pieces of land that become countries rather. So and people inhabit. It creates a place for us to live so that we don't necessarily have to live on the sea or live in maritime law all the time. Even though that's okay also. Beings are here. You're going to be whatever kind of being you need to be to support your livelihood, but or your lifestyle, or your spiritual essence, whatever, it may be for you. But it's just interesting that again, this everybody's racing to space. Everybody's getting to space now at this time, and not the first time. We know there was a time also. They did the fake moon landing and all of that stuff. People want to be the first one land on the moon, first one here, first one there.
Oh, yeah.
But the connection between out there and in here is just it's uncanny. So when we start looking at that and we talk about portals, there are portals right here on Earth, so said to be, in different places of the Earth. And again, science, physics, different aspects of creation and of magnetism could bring different things into existence. And we know that these are the things of the space-time continuum, the things that we can't see, the waves, the radio waves, this 0 point energy. These are the things we can't see that are making an impact on our lives. And if we have the intuition or insight to see them again, maybe if we were aware of them, or if we became more conscious of them, then we may begin to find ways or develop ideas to see them if we hadn't before. So it's just, again, all in knowing and growing. Knowledge is power. So we find that connection, though, between space out there, and then we find space here, inner space, right here on Earth, inside our Earth, or even just in the oceanic atmosphere. So there are things that people have said, I'll say, and I know people will say, well, who said it and what people? But anyway, just to spark your intellect here for a moment, if you don't mind, about the Bermuda Triangle. Again, well-documented things about people losing, what do you call it?
Disappear.
Well, no, they get disoriented, and it's like they get flipped around. So their north becomes south, south becomes north, east becomes west, west becomes east. They get disoriented in that all of their navigational equipment and anything that runs off of a magnet, any compass or anything like that, goes haywire, because it's a spot where the energy is it's intersecting. So it's a power spot. So there are different things that happen in that field, in that magnetic field. Planes have gone missing. Ships have gone missing, and then reappeared even. So, there are things that happen within that energy field that are well documented, that it's, well, I won't say it's unexplainable, because the unexplainable is only unexplainable by people who don't know how to explain it. But there's somebody there that understands exactly what's happening, and we know that it's documented. We know that it's supported, and that we understand, at least to a degree, that these are great possibilities, being that there's evidence for them. So being that we live here in Florida, so close to the Bermuda Triangle, I'm not sure how much people in other parts of the world know about the Bermuda Triangle, but that's pretty much a snippet, I'll say, a little tidbit there, snippet and tidbit, snippet of of what it is, or what is considered to be here locally. But there are things or ideas, and even people, ancient people from these areas, from the Americas or from the islands, in the Americas, different people that have documented that these are portals per se. These are areas that we're able to travel to other parts of this planet, or outside of this planet to other planets, Mars being one of them. So it's just interesting because, in our limited aspect and understanding, it seems so far away. It seems like, oh my gosh, that's an eternity away. How do we get there? How can we even begin to construct and configure? And then to find that there are, again, things and places right here on Earth that naturally support getting there, or exploration in other places, or travel to other parts of the universe or solar system. It's interesting. It's a very interesting concept, because some people from these ancient societies, uh, they have evidence also to support the same, whether it be from folklore passed down, or not folklore, from tale passed down from time to time to time, or yeah, or whatever it may be, or just whether it be depiction from different things that they have, different artifacts they may have passed down from family to family, different books or different whatever. It's 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 just interesting to see that connection there. So to know that there are other places and other ways to get to other places versus a spaceship, it makes you think twice. And it makes you wonder, wow, okay, well, if you could, and if there is water up there, you know what I mean, and there's water here, you know, that becomes a lot more probable, oh, well, maybe then, maybe there's something I can't see that, connects this to that in some kind of way, you know what I mean? So the unknown becomes the known in that aspect. Maybe not every aspect of it or every detail of the unknown, but just beginning to explore and understand on your own those ideas of the possibility that, wow, there may be a real connection between underground oceanic exploration and space exploration. Okay. Now, with and I did touch on yeah, the portals and the ocean gate, and our condolences again to those families that may have lost anybody. um but again, however, if there are portals under there, and this it's interesting because these, you talk about the people that were on board, we know that this deep exploration, I talked about some of these people that go to space and that do this. Now let me double back and say, and that do this deep exploration, they had deep pockets, they had a lot of money, they had the resources to explore these places. And again, not that we can't go do it, but to have the resources to do it is the challenge, right, for most people to do anything. So you find that people don't risk their lives for nothing. Okay. There are things that people are familiar with, there are things that people are aware of that normal population or normal public may not be. Just like I just mentioned, from some of these ancient people that may be aware of different things in different places or different spots in the ocean that maybe other people may not be aware of. So there's knowledge out there, you know what I mean? And there's things out there that people know, and other people have access to. Money gives you access to information. Money gives you access to artifacts. There are people who explored the Egyptian temples when they were first began to be explored in the early 1900s. And again, these people were affluent. They had a lot of money and they had the resources to go and do these things. So it's not that most people who look like everyday people don't want to, or maybe they're just not generally interested. But the people that are interested may just not have the resources. Resources are one thing that are necessary here, right? So at least in the time and day and age that we live in. So when we look at these things and we find these connections, it's just, we have to take a step back and we have to look at ourselves. And we have to kind of see, okay, so all of this is going on around me. Where do I fit in all of this? What's my part? What do I do? Like, you know what I mean? What can I do? you know? Um, and a few things come to mind because, oh, and you know what? Actually, a few things come to mind. And what I do want to back up to is, let me back up just a moment back to the space age one more time, because I know in this connection to indigenous peoples here, and their understanding of the dynamics of some of the workings of some of these phenomenon, such as the Bermuda Triangle and natural phenomenons, rather, that people seem to be not able to explain. But yet people from hundreds of years ago seem to know and get it perfectly. In Haiti, there is a mountain that they have been mining different materials from. So I've heard, again, maybe this is not true, maybe this is just hearsay, but there are materials there from an ancient space age crash long time ago, or even just the general composition of that area, being that it's built on a certain magnetic plate. But whether that, regardless of what avenue you want to go with that, however, the materials are there, and there have been different agencies from different parts of the world, Americas, the European nations, different things like that, that have come to get these materials, because evidently this material, some of them are highly valuable. You know, they're highly valuable for sustainability in life, and then other ones are, and they're super minerals, super healing, super constructive, super strong. And then there are other ones that they're using to build for spacecraft, that are also along those same lines, could be considered super expensive, and necessary and a necessity to get to some of these outer realms with the force that they may be trying to use to get there. So it's just interesting because that's right here locally. Again, that's within hours away. These are things and materials that people have access to, or even like they say, Christopher Columbus came to Florida to find the Fountain of Youth, right? So is it here? I won't tell. But yeah, there are things, there are waters, there are springs and taps that hold healing power. They hold supernatural power that some would consider. They would consider supernatural. For me, I just say natural, because nature is healing within itself. That's one thing. Don't ever be surprised by the healing power of nature. That's what it does. Nature is a healing element to begin with, a conglomerate of healing elements rather. So within that, we look at ourselves as a part of nature. We are all a piece and a part of nature, and the moment that we disconnect from that is the moment that we find confusion, or we find dissolution, or we find a disconnect, and we find that misunderstanding, or that not understanding per se. So I think I'm gonna just go ahead and wrap it up here. I think that's kind of where, just a few things wanted to share this evening, as far as the connection between space, between the oceanic and oceanographic atmosphere, and just between external and internal beings, and portals and ways to get there, because this is all connected cohesively. And I know it was a little scattered tonight, y'all. Forgive us. We had some technical difficulties getting started, and then I know my husband was we were cooking dinner before this, so I know he was doing different things and getting prepared, and likewise so was I. So this one was not as cohesive as normally. Well, I guess this is, we normally don't do lives, but we're getting active on the lives also. So not as cohesive as it should have been, or I would have liked, have anticipated for it to be, is what I'll say. So everything happens for a reason. It's great anyway. Glad to see that everybody came out, and anybody that has any questions, drop them in the comments. Again, whenever you're watching this, whatever space time you may be in, just do a deuces, hit a like, let us know that you watched, let us know any questions you may have, let us know any content that you may want us to cover, and we're here for that. Okay, so until next time, y'all, like, subscribe to the channel, don't forget to share this post, this live, and we'll see you till next time, y'all. Be safe, be healthy. All right, later
y'all.
Later. Oh, and we got the merch coming soon, y'all. Merch coming soon. I don't know if you can see it. Conscious Life merch. We here. Yeah. We in there, y'all. Conscious Life merch coming soon. So that you can be in tune and wear some high vibrational clothing. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
And have a great night.
All right. Night, night.